Welcome to Uncloaked Illusions. I'm Chris Anthony, and I wanted to share a conversation that transpired at work today. And it was concerning religion. And I always have a pretty interesting conversation with anyone when it comes to religion and what they believe and what I believe. It seems to piss people off. Now, walk through the kitchen, dealing with the kitchen staff. Need I say more? And they asked me, was I into political science? And I affirmed that I am. And I also pointed out that I'm into history, or at least I'm a student of history and philosophy. And I even love the psychology. And it led to political science and policy to religion. And I believe the religion kind of came about due to history. Particular guy was explaining and expressing to me the history of religion, and now his belief is that black people are the originators of Christianity. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening to it. He also spewed that Ethiopia was the first country that actually introduced Christianity, and other parts of the world came and stole it from this particular country. And that's what he was inciting. Also about the Israelites and how the black people were cursed to be poverty stricken, and all of these wonderful things due to what the Bible was promising and teaching. Now, my stance on it was pretty simplistic. I said that I believe more in what science says and not what religion says. And we kind of went back and forth. One thing you do is you never discuss religion or politics at work. I do understand this. However, I was baited into this. Now, they asked me, do I believe in God? I said, well, I believe in a higher power. I believe in a source. And if that's what you're going to label him as, or it as, God, the universe, whatever you look at it as, it's something that you take with yourself that makes you feel comfortable. Oh my God. This made these people go into a fucking frenzy. Like, they could not believe I was saying these things. And they could not believe that for everything that they were pretty much spouting to me, I had a question that they could not answer. It does not mean that you are spiritually strong, or it does not mean that you are spiritually intellectual, because you can recite scripture. A great deal of people that can recite scripture to you can't even explain to you what scripture is and also how they interpret it. They repeat to you what they've heard in their echo chamber of the church. Now, again, that does not mean that I don't believe in a higher power. Again, I just believe that our interpretation of however you want to label the entity it's completely skewed. And I did not know anything about the Ethiopian country being the first country to introduce Christianity, because what I know about Christianity is completely different from what this person was pointing out to me. And about the Israelites, I know something completely different. So I told him, give me a few minutes and I'll look into it and I'll get back to him. Well, I looked into the whole Ethiopia being the origins of Christianity, and I discovered that, this was introduced in Ethiopia in the 4th century by the I believe the Axumites, and they basically introduced it to the emperor, and the emperor's name, I believe, was Ezana. And this is how Christianity was implemented in Ethiopia. But in the 4th century, Christianity originated in the 1st century. And mind you, I felt like I wanted to go back into the kitchen and just let him know, okay, well, it took me 2 minutes to look into this. This is what I discovered. I'm not saying that what you were saying was inaccurate, because it was accurate, but just the dates and the origins of Christianity you were off on. But I didn't want to do that, because that would have probably started a tussle. he was very, very emotional about the entire thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I would hate to mention to you that the mindset of black people was actually this way pre at slave, the Atlantic slave trade, because it probably would have started a fight. But look, this is how emotional people get about religion. And, even though I mentioned to him, well, you have to keep in mind that before the Africans were migrated over to America, North America and South America, and parts of Europe, that black people had their own way of worshiping, and their way of worshiping was always ancestral. I said, so when we came to America, Christianity was literally forced on us, like Christianity was forced on, the entire world for the most part. The Crusades, get a hint. And I just thought it was pretty interesting that it took me 2 minutes to basically redact what he had said, and to reduce it to the lowest term, which was to reduce it to being a non-truth about Ethiopia. But again, his idea was, and his notion was to convince me that we were the originators of Christianity. Now, I also ask him, when you say black, you have to constitute what black means, because there are many different black cultures. And again, I was met with a bunch of negativity, and I said, now you see, this is why the the Christian community can't really be trusted, because it's full of hypocrites. You're judging me because I don't believe how you believe. Say it's interesting. Needless to say, they try to brush it off like it's not a big deal. But mind you, I knew it was a big deal, because you could feel the tension. You could cut it with a knife when I walked back into the kitchen, and I just thought it was pretty interesting, because what he did was he did look into it, and not denying that he didn't. He looked into it, but he took certain pieces from history to fit his narrative, to fit what he wants to try and convince people to believe. And mind you, that's what a great deal of people do, no matter what subject matter it's concerning. They take certain pieces of whatever it is that they are trying to spew on to people, and trying to convert people into believing, just to fit their narrative. My family on my father's side, especially Jehovah's Witnesses. So I got a great deal of Bible research when I was a kid, and I pointed out to him that there are many holes in the Bible. One thing was, okay, this was a question that I asked, and just for my subscribers, and for anybody that's viewing. And look, this is not about attacking each other, and this is just for my own personal understanding, and maybe someone else's. I say, okay, you said we have free will. He's like, yeah. I said, but you say God is all knowing, right? Yeah. God knows what you're going to do before you do it, right? Yeah. Well, how is that free will? The response I always get, and I've asked this question to many people, because it's your choice, and you're choosing. Okay, but he knows what you're going to do before you do it, whether it's 10 seconds in advance or not. He knows the outcome. How is that free will? Because it's choice, and you choose, but you're still not answering the question. You keep telling me choices, and I'm asking you, okay, so how is something knowing the choice that you're going to make, how is it free will? I can't have that explained by hardly anyone, especially even the religious fanatics. I can't have it explained. I would like to have an explanation behind that one question that can never be answered, but always with the same response. Your choice, your choice, your choice, your choice. Okay, how is it my choice if something already knows exactly what I'm going to do prior to me doing it? This pissed them off. I don't think they wanted to communicate with me anymore after that, and I loved every fucking bit of it, because I walked away just happy as I could be, like, oh, good. You know, I know it's not going to make them think, because, again, they're so engulfed in they're so engulfed in this Christian belief, or just this belief in something that they can't see, to the point where even when you show them the facts or when you show them evidence, they won't accept it or believe it. And that's how I sometimes feel about the black community. You can show them the truth. You can present the evidence to them and they are still going to be in denial. Still. You know, my belief in scientific evidence, yes, science can be misleading sometimes as well, because it can be incorrect research. It could be incorrect theories, but science can ultimately be proven easier than religion, and that's in my opinion. And I'm not trying to exact that on anybody. You believe what you want to believe as long as it makes you happy. But I just need that question to be answered, if anyone can. I am Chris Anthony. Like, subscribe, share this, and comment. Let me know how you feel about this conversation that ensued at work today amongst me and a couple co-workers. I'm quite sure when I return to work, I won't have anybody talking to me. At least anybody that, you know, disagreed with everything that I felt. You know, but there were co-workers that were just like listening to the whole thing, and they're just like, you know, everything you were saying, it made sense. And they couldn't answer anything you were asking. And, you know, again, I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be in cahoots of agreeances with people. Not here for any of that, but I am out.